Bad news for people who enjoy watching uneventful Fallout-themed countdowns. The recent countdown by Fallout publisher Bethesda has finally ended, revealing a new game in the post-apocalyptic RPG series called Fallout 76.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
After a brief panicky moment in which we thought we might have accidentally missed 71 intervening Fallout games, we immediately started speculating about what it all meant. At the moment, little is known about the new game, and things will likely stay that way until Bethesda's E3 press conference on June the 10th. But where's the fun in waiting patiently for things to happen? If we wanted to do that, we'd be no better than those chumps in a Vault-Tec vault, waiting for the place to fill up with clouds of poison gas or whatever social experiment they've got going on this time. Instead, let's take a look at the swirling clouds of rumour surrounding Fallout 76 and see which ones we really hope are true. There's not much to go on regarding the location of Fallout 76 beyond the John Denver song Country Roads that plays in the trailer, with its numerous references to West Virginia, the Shenandoah River, and the Blue Ridge Mountains. But to be honest, Bethesda, it'd be a real dick move to kick off the trailer with the words West Virginia and not set it in West Virginia. Are you going to make a liar out of John Denver?
West Virginia.
That puts it close to the capital wasteland as seen in Fallout 3, but it's an area of the United States that's as rich in colonial history as Boston, the setting for Fallout 4. The other thing it's rich in is mountains and forests. Probably less so after a nuclear war, but we can maybe expect to see a slightly more rural setting than we've seen in previous Fallout games. That is, when we're not spending all our time in the more prominent feature of the trailer. Speaking of, the star of the Fallout 76 trailer is Vault 76 itself, a new and hitherto unseen vault in the Fallout universe. As we all know though, while Fallout vaults might seem like they were built to protect people, they also had a sinister secondary purpose, which was to study the effects on a captive population of hallucinogens, or colour-based segregation, or cloning one guy called Gary over and over again.
Gary!
Results as expected. But as with any reliable sinister experiment, there has to be a control group under normal circumstances, and it looks like Vault 76 was just such a thing. That would mean it wasn't as full of poison gas or giant insects as it was of ordinary terrified people doing their best to survive. This might be the best conditioned vault we've ever seen in a Fallout game, with no mysterious leaks, zero radroaches, and even some innovations we've not seen in other vaults, such as the time of day window shutters and a five-a-side football pitch. In fact, now that it's empty, you might be able to make a bit of money on Airbnb. Even their test card is in colour. Swanky. Everything we've seen marks Vault 76 as being special in some way, from the fancy gold trim and number on the vault suit to its status as the official vault of the US Tricentennial, and the official-looking dedication ceremony in which it's said the future will start in Vault 76.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
Add to that the Vault-Tec Outstanding Achievement Award, apparently awarded for dedication to Vault-Tec's isolation program, and our money is on Vault 76 being a voluntary posting for high-ranking Vault-Tec employees. Conceivably, it was a posting for just one high-ranking Vault-Tec employee, if the reference to isolation is as literal as actual solitary confinement. It would certainly explain how they managed to win both the Best Hair and Cleanest Toilet award. No one's got time to do both. More plausibly though, the fact that Vault 76 is a control vault and it is listed in the Citadel as having 500 occupants means we're probably looking at a small group of society's best and brightest who are presumably now really good at football. Oh, maybe that was the experiment. Watch out, future Premier League. One thing we absolutely can be sure of is the time period for the game. No room for wild speculation here, but don't worry, there'll be plenty of that later. The date in the trailer is the 27th of October 2102, meaning the meat of the game will be set earlier than any Fallout game we've played so far, even the ancient 2D titles Fallout 1 and 2. We're talking about 175 years before Fallout 3 and 185 years before Fallout 4. Still, apparently Nick Valentine is over 100 years old, so maybe we'll get to see what he looked like when he had more than just half a face. Probably weird now that we're used to it.
What? The great Clockwork Dick is stumped?
It's Synth Detective, jackass.
That earlier time period means you'll be rocking an even more retro Pip-Boy 2000 Mark VI, which is much closer to the design of the Pip-Boy from the original Fallout games. And if you're curious about connections to the rest of the Fallout timeline, the main events listed for 2102 involve the birth of the Master, the multi-voiced antagonist from the very first Fallout game. It seems unlikely he'll show up, though it would be super cool if only to hear him talking again.
The
unity
will bring about the master race.
Master!
One able to survive, or even
Thrive!
in the wasteland.
Significantly, 2102 is exactly 25 years after the outbreak of the Great War on October 23rd, 2077. According to what we already know about Vault 76, about how it was designed to open 20 years after a nuclear war, at the time of the trailer, the vault should have already been open for 5 years. But the balloons are still inflated from the party and everything's still pristine, so we have to assume that the fallout in this area took a little longer to settle than initially expected. You can't go opening the door early and blasting the winner of that Best Haircut award with a face full of radiation. Probably ruin that quiff.
Now get ready and stop hogging the mirror.
Right.
Either way, the wasteland is still likely to be properly fresh at the time of Fallout 76, and few, if any, vaults will have opened. We reckon that means you should expect fewer existing settlements, fewer unmutated survivors, and a more extreme survival experience than any previous Fallout game. And about that survival experience, by the way. The big questions surrounding Fallout 76, apart from what is it and when is it out and can I have it now please, P. Hines, is what genre of game it'll be. Looking at the trailer, it's pretty clear that the game is using the Fallout 4 engine, but the early rumour is that it isn't going to be a straight-up role-playing game like previous games in the series. Rather, rumour has it that the game will be a survival game in the mould of Rust or Ark Survival Evolved. To this end, it would use the existing Fallout 4 base building mechanic and combine it with exploration, combat, and resource gathering to have you trying to survive and build settlements while managing things such as your hunger, thirst, and tiredness levels, kind of like in Fallout New Vegas' hardcore mode.
Alright now, we're gonna be making something folks on the trail call healing powder. Go on over to that campfire now. Give it a try.
Though survival games aren't as white-hot now as they were a couple of years ago, it's important to remember that Fallout is a massive franchise, and as such, unable to respond as nimbly to trends as smaller indie games. The survival genre was popular 2 years ago, when this game was probably greenlit, a period which probably also inspired the development of Metal Gear Survive and Conan Exiles, which was similarly late to the party survival games.
Live. Love. Burn with life. Slay and survive.
Of course, neither of those games were Fallout, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, if Bethesda had waited a little longer, we'd be getting Fallout Battle Royale now, so maybe things worked out for the best. It's pretty clear from the trailer that Vault 76 has a singular purpose: rebuilding.
For when the fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled, you must rebuild.
The vault is littered with references to a Reclamation Day, presumably not reclamation in the Fallout 4 sense, where it's a euphemism for kidnapping robots,
Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute.
but rather in the sense of reclaiming the wasteland and rebuilding society. As we mentioned in the previous point, the resource gathering and settlement construction mechanics already exist in Fallout 4. Where they were used mostly for small-scale construction and maintenance in that game, however, look for them to be a lot more front and center in Fallout 76, because rebuilding society is going to take a lot of corrugated iron sheeting and wooden planks.
Nothing says home like corrugated metal and loose live wires. Hey, it's comfortable. Never said it was safe.
Newsblog Kotaku reports that there will be quests, and the game has evolved somewhat since it was first conceived. But still, according to Kotaku, anyone expecting a big single-player RPG will be disappointed. Don't panic, but it might be that the online base building and survival action of Metal Gear Survive is the closest thing we have to compare Fallout 76 to at the moment. Still, Fallout 76 has the full backing of Fallout publisher Bethesda. Here's hoping that this is an opportunity to see this sort of experience done right. The Fallout series has been, so far, a deeply single-player experience. In fact, you might say your solitary status is practically a Fallout theme. Fallout 4's protagonist is known as the sole survivor. In Fallout 2, you played the Chosen One, not the Chosen One of many.
Come in, Chosen One. There are things you must know.
And Fallout 3's protagonist is the Lone Wanderer, not the Accompanied Wanderer, despite how much time we spent kicking around with Forks, our one-man wasteland entourage.
Yes, the unpleasant necessities of battle. Your suggestions?
And yet, according to Kotaku, Fallout 76 will be an online game of some description, implying you'll be interacting with other players online. Speaking of which, could the electronic invite in the Fallout 76 trailer be a nod to an invitation to join a multiplayer game, as well as an invite to the Reclamation Day festivities? If Fallout 76 has some form of multiplayer in it, it would be the first multiplayer Fallout game since Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and we're not sure that counts. It had Slipknot on the soundtrack, for pity's sake. I'm pretty sure they do want to set the world on fire.
In this topsy-turvy, post-apocalyptic world, you can never have enough ammunition.
Of course, there are multiplayer games, and then there are multiplayer games. There's a world of difference between a single-player game with online modes and a massively multiplayer online role-playing game in the vein of, say, The Elder Scrolls Online, the MMORPG also from Bethesda, the publisher of the Fallout franchise. We'd be surprised if Fallout 76 was a full-on MMORPG, but much less surprised if it was an online survival game, combining the survivalism genre mentioned earlier with multiplayer elements, something like Ark Survival Evolved, in a fully or partially shared online world. In the Fallout 76 trailer, the board game called The Unstoppable Shindig is for up to 5 players and has 5 profile picture style character images along the front of the box. Could this be a clue as to the final player count of Fallout 76? I mean, it could. In any case, and as a tangential benefit, if Bethesda gets multiplayer officially working in its game engine, then maybe the next main series entry for Fallout or Elder Scrolls could at long last include a co-op mode, which we are all for. Those were the big Fallout 76 theories doing the rounds that we hope are true. Did you spot something we missed? What are you hoping for from the game? Let us know in the comments, and like and subscribe for more Fallout 76 from Outside Xbox very, very soon. Thanks for watching.